Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a huge Big 12 battle for the Cougars as they head to Cincinnati for a showdown against the Bearcats. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Lucky enough to have the man, the myth, and the legend, Steve Bartle, hanging out in studio with us. How you doing, Mr. Bartle?
Good, man. I need some shades. I need some shades real bad right now because the light shining from you, my man.
And an overcoat.
It's bright, dude. It's just bright.
There's only one man that wears shades in that seat. Only one.
Only one, man. I wish I could match that dude's aura.
Yeah, I know. I love him.
Yeah.
I love being around him, love talking to Trevor Riley. Been just dear friends for a lot of years. And he shaded out.
Oh,
and it
yeah,
wasn't just
bro.
any normal shade. Like, I think those are the shades that Coach Prime gifted the whole team.
Oh, there you go.
Remember when they brought the shades in?
Yeah, I'm sure those are all one-of-one type shades.
Also, I noticed in the shade, there was a little round circle, so I think those are prescription shades.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure.
There you go.
But that was great. What a comeback. What a win. Talk about, I don't know even where to start with this game. Take us to the moment, the pick two by Taylor Johnson, the pop-up by Smith Snowden, and how that changed the game. Or, you know what, let's start with this. Where do you think the game changed for Utah?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was right around that time. So Devin Dampier was 3rd and 9, I think, and he had the QB draw play and fumbled. And at that point, that was right at that time where up at Utah, the press box, you start to empty out to get down to the field, right? And as we're sort of transitioning from the press box out to the elevator to go down to the field, all of a sudden we hear the roar from the crowd. I shouldn't say roar, but noise from the crowd, and saw the Joe Jackson touchdown after the Dampier fumble. And at that point, you're just like, all right, well, we kind of know how this game is trending, and you're starting to work on your content and how you're going to frame things. And by the time we got to the elevator, Taylor Johnson was running back an interception, and we're unaware kind of like what's going on. And at that point, I was with Josh Bennett, my co-host of the Utah Blockcast, and he says to me at that moment, he's like, that's actually really big to get that 2 points for you in that moment. That was really kind of the play that changed the game, the final 7 minutes. We got down to the field, and we've got fans behind us that are, debating whether Utah's going to be able to get the win or not. And there's this little kid that's just trying to will everybody to believe in winning. And it was surreal to watch those final minutes unfold. It was 4th and 1, and Dev rips off the 59-yard run, and that place erupted. It was reminiscent of the 2022 game with Cam Rising against USC. It was reminiscent of, Britton Covey's return against Oregon. The place erupted. And from that moment on, those final couple of minutes, Rice-Eccles Stadium was as loud as it's been for that stretch of time that I've ever heard. Those final 3 minutes were huge for Utah.
For real?
Oh, yeah.
The loudest you've ever heard.
Among the best, among the loudest. And that's saying something, because at 7 minutes, you see the touchdown, you see the turnover, the touchdown, and, fans, not criticizing them for leaving, but a lot of fans left. And for a lot of fans that were still there, Kyle Whittingham, said it best, that they were given a pretty special treat to for those that hung around for that one.
When you said a lot left, because I went back and watched most of it, you can't see it. No. When you say a lot left, how many is a lot?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but just from what it was.
Could you give me a percentage? 10%?
10, 15, 20% of the stadium left. 7 minutes to left. Again, Kansas State going up 10 or going up 12 with an opportunity to add a 2-point conversion, go up 14, 7 minutes left. There haven't been too many games like that where you've seen a comeback in that sort of, and the way that Kansas State was playing, it was wild. It was crazy. So for Utah to fight back, and again, I think it speaks to the never die attitude that Whittingham has instilled in that program up there. That's what we saw Saturday night.
What's it like for you as a lifetime Ute coverer, What's it like for you to see 51 points on the board and a Utah offense answer the call? I was going through the play-by-play script on this thing, and it was like Kansas State touchdown, Utah touchdown, Kansas State touchdown, Utah touchdown, and just answering. And then when you really needed it, clamp down. And still, the defense gave you the win with an interception.
Yeah.
The defense gave you a win with the batted pass from Snowden that landed in Teo's hands for the pick, too. Like, the defense still gave you the moments. But what's that like for you to see a Utah offense that can put up 51 points?
Yeah, it's remarkable. And again, I go back to that 2022 game, Utah versus USC. You know, Caleb Williams jumping out to a big lead with the Trojan offense that they had that year. It was one of the top offenses with Lincoln Riley and Williams, and they were, you know, getting a lot of offense. And it just felt at that time, you know, during that game early on, the first quarter, you're just like, oh, there's no way Utah's going to be able to hang into this one. And then, you know, so that's where I feel like I make that comparison to that game is, you know, Utah just continued to, you know, answer. And that, to me, was really indicative of this team and that offense, you know, with the leaders that they have on that side of the ball with Dev and Spencer and Jaron Kump, who's played in a lot of big games for Utah. He's been here he's been at Utah since, 2019, 2020? He's seen a lot of big games. And, you know, for that group to continue to respond, you know, despite those back-breaking plays that the defense gave up, which was just wild to see Utah give up that amount of yardage. I think it was 384 in the first half alone on the ground. It was a record. You know, only New Mexico had 407 yards in total. That was the only game where at halftime, you know, again, Kansas State, I think was 384 or 348. I'm dyslexic. But that was the only other game that had more rushing yardage, and that was a total game. So Utah giving up that amount in the first half was wild. But for the offense to answer each and every time was really significant. And Kyle talked about it today, but they went 6 for 6 in the red zone for touchdowns, and I think
still number one in the country.
Number one in the
zone.
country,
82%
touchdown percentage, and that is arguably the biggest difference this year from last year is Utah's red zone production this year.
They get in and it's over.
Yeah,
I'll tell you when my back broke and I put a white flag, and said it's over. It was the fumble that led to a touchdown.
Yeah,
you know, at that point you're down 41-35. You fumble it. And by the way, just a pure effort to try to get to the markers.
For sure.
Devin was doing everything he could. And Kansas State takes it, goes 3 plays, 26 yards. They go up 47-35 at the time. Yep. I think it was 47-35.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, nah, it's over.
Yep.
And lo and behold, they were able to push back in that moment. They get a touchdown. They force a Kansas State punt. They get a touchdown. And then they end it with the interception.
Yeah.
Just incredible. I don't – when the fumble popped out, you just think it's over.
That was it. No, that was it. And like we were saying earlier, a lot of fans felt the same way. That was a back-breaking moment to see that fumble because, you know, Utah hadn't been able to stop the K-State attack. And it was an unfamiliar game for a lot of Utah fans, I'm sure, because of the defensive struggles and the way that the offense was still, you know, responding throughout the night. But Dev really stepped up for Utah in those final moments. It wasn't his best performance this season up to that point, but he dug deep, made plays, especially responding after the fumble. To make the plays that he did, the throw that he did to Larry Simmons for the touchdown was a dot, and he just answered the call in the clutch moments for Utah down the stretch.
So let's talk about this, Steve. What's next for Utah? What is possible for Utah in the remaining parts of this season? They play Kansas. That should be a good win. They now stack 10 wins. They've got some good wins in it. The Arizona State win is proving to be very good. Mm-hmm. Arizona State in the back and forth with Colorado, but finished out really strong. Vegas still owns the rights to the Pac-12 legacy, so Vegas could select them. Alamo Bowl is up there, Obviously, Pop-Tarts Bowl, still possible and up there.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sense of what's next, what's left.
Yeah.
Give me the high side of Utah and give me the low side of Utah.
Yeah, just the absolute chaotic weekend that Week 14 could potentially be. Utah still has a chance to get to the Big 12 title game, but again, you're going to need a West Virginia team to knock off Texas Tech. That seems very, 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 very unlikely. But still,
it would be great.
Crazier things have happened. And I think that would lead to a Utah-BYU Big 12 title game, which would just be the most Big 12 thing to happen. The one team that beat both BYU and Utah this season ends up outside of the Big 12 title game because of the tiebreakers and all that would have to happen. There's more than just West Virginia. But if you lose to West Virginia, I don't know that you deserve a title shot.
No.
So let's put that out there first and foremost. But there would be other things that would need to play out. Obviously, BYU would also have to lose to UCF. I think obviously Utah would need to win, and I think Arizona State would need to win. But that's the most chaotic, best case scenario for Utah would be just an absolute chaotic Week 14 to then get to the Big 12 title game next weekend. Beyond that, you still have potential for chaos in the college football playoff race.
In the top 10.
In the top 10. I think, if Oklahoma loses to LSU, that's an interesting one. We'll see what happens with the rest of the top 10, but there's still that. Obviously, it's not a great...
Alabama's got to play Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn's not real good.
No.
I don't think Alabama's real good. I think both BYU and Utah would crack them.
Right. We'll see. I don't want to put up the "We Want Bama" sign just yet, but
I would love to see that game.
I would love it. Yeah, I would love it. I would love the opportunity for sure. And I think, Utah's still fighting for a lot. And what's interesting about these bowl games, I didn't realize the Las Vegas Bowl is now a December 31st bowl game. I don't know when that changed. It must have changed recently.
Which bowl game?
The Las Vegas Bowl.
December 31st.
And so, that's an interesting one. Pop-Tarts Bowl, obviously, and then the Alamo Bowl. So we'll see what ends up happening. But there's still, a lot on the table for Utah to finish out the season.
A lot on the table and a lot to be proud of what this Utah team has accomplished and what they're doing offensively. Tell me this, Steve. How does the future of Utah? You know what? Let's move this way. Let's move in this direction. Because everybody saw Utah get this win, this comeback win, very emotionally straining on Kyle Whittingham. He was emotional in the post game, and I was just telling Lloyd, I'm gonna stand by this. I just don't think he's done. I don't think he's done. There was so much going through social media of, this was the indicator. I don't think it is. I think that his Grinch-like heart is starting to grow in size because his Whoville seniors have built up this love in his chest. Mm-hmm. And I think he's starting to feel it a little bit. But I don't think he's done. I want to know where you stand.
It's an interesting conversation. I think Kyle Whittingham has loved this team and this season and what it's meant for Utah football. You can tell how much the program means to him. You can tell how much the university means to him. And his big thing going back to last year was, not wanting to leave the program on a sour note, on a low note, right? He wanted to finish stronger, and he couldn't stomach leaving the program with a 5-7 record and, some of the worst things that have happened to the program in a really long time, the 7-game losing streak. I don't know how many times we talked about that, Lloyd, but that was one that you had to go back in the record books to see the last time they had that. And I think Kyle Whittingham, I'm sure there's still the debate of what he genuinely wants to do. Does he want to come back? Does he want to take on that next phase of his life? And I think when the dust settles and he's able to kind of sit back and see what he accomplished this season, he's definitely set up Utah on a much better trajectory. Everybody knows what is next for Utah when he does decide to call it a career. Morgan Scalley will step up, and I think there's a lot of excitement and optimism about what he'll be as a head coach. Obviously, he's not going to have the answers in year one and year two. It's going to be a process for him, but there's a lot of faith in him. And I think, a lot of fans appreciate what Whittingham has accomplished. And, all you have to do is drive up to the university to see how that campus has evolved.
Oh, yeah.
All of that, I shouldn't say all of that, but a lot of that is
a large portion.
A lot of that is due to what Whittingham accomplished in his career to get that Pac-12 invite, and to see that campus evolve. That a lot of credit belongs to Whittingham for all of that.
You got to tip your cap.
Absolutely.
And I envision a time where Whittingham's name is on the stadium.
Oh yeah,
he's had that level, that significant of an impact, taking them through Pac-12 adjustments, now taking them into Big 12 adjustments. And, we've seen the path. A similar path to what Kalani did with BYU. Kind of a down first season, and then you get to 10-2 in the second season.
Yeah.
That's where Kyle's standing currently. He should get to 10-2, and he should have it nice and established. A lot of me, Steve, is just I don't want change. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see him go. And so maybe I'm just sitting here in my own selfish optimism, and maybe he's got grander plans with grandkids and a design on life. I don't see it.
Yeah. It's so foreign to us, right? There are students at the University of Utah that they've only known Kyle Whittingham as the head coach because, he's been here for 20 some odd years, and he's meant so much to the program that it would be kind of surreal to not see him walking the sidelines each and every Saturday. It's surreal, and it's going to be a lengthy time to adjust and transition to that next phase. But I think, he's done a lot. He's done a lot for the university where he can, whenever he does decide to hang it up, that he can feel really proud about what he accomplished as the head man of Utah football.
Well, Steve, Friday game, a Friday day kick.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, not great. Friday Black Friday, post-Thanksgiving out in Kansas, 10 a.m., 11 a.m.
So
Central
are you
going
to leave on Thanksgiving night? Or?
No, I'm leaving Wednesday because, flights and budgets and all that sort of stuff. And
so you leave Wednesday.
Yep.
You'll spend Thanksgiving.
Alone in Kansas City. So if there are any listeners out there in KC, hit your guy up.
Yeah, hit your guy up, man. Let's get him out to a good Thanksgiving. But, Steve, thank you, man. You do a fantastic job for KSLSports.com. And,
appreciate you.
You have definitely upped the value, so appreciate you. Really appreciate you, man, and your time.
Appreciate you, Hans. Thank you, man.
There you go, Steve Bartle. He is the absolute man with his coverage at KSLSports.com. You can read all of his material as he takes the trip Wednesday out there for you. He's doing this for you. He's sacrificing his time on the road in Kansas.
Can't think of anywhere I'd rather be than Kansas for Thanksgiving.
Oh, jeez. Oh, I could think of a few places, but at least it's not tornado season. All right. Great stuff by Steve. Take a quick one. We'll come back and give you a few final thoughts, and we'll wrap it up and get you ready for the boys, Alex and JJ, coming up next.